let's talk about PvP. Um, because I enjoyed PvP a lot more than I thought I would, with one caveat. My one caveat is that I really enjoyed 2v2, and I don't think I enjoyed 1v1 that much. So the 1v1 was very quick, and that is something that it had going for it. It was a very quick experience. I think we played in like half an hour, but it felt like a rush game. And in 2v2, it felt a lot more tempo based and it felt very collaborative. The way that I described it after playing it a couple of times is it felt like I'm playing Marvel Champions, a two-player game of Marvel Champions, against a more intelligent villain. And so it didn't feel like I had a ton of tension in the 2v2, a ton of tension of that head to head, like, okay, like we're going at it. One of us is going to come out on top. The 1v1, it did feel like there was a lot of tension. And I think for me personally, there are other games that I'd rather play 1v1 head to head than this game. However, 2v2, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. And I think, like, Brant was saying at the con, try it. And I would 100% agree with that. If you are able to try a 2v2 or even a 1v1, it's much better than I thought. There are a lot of like really fun interactions on how you can build your deck. So whenever you approach a table, you're going to have your hero decks, just like in a normal game of Marvel Champions, but also you're building a leader deck that has a leader. It has a 1A and or first and a second main scheme, which are modular. You can choose those. And then 3 to 4 mod sets that you get to pick. And so the one that we were running a Captain America, and then the first main scheme allowed us to go find a minion for other players at the start of the game. So we would start, flip up, we would go through, and we would find a minion and deal one out as a face down encounter card, knowing what was coming. We'd always pick Namor and then an Avenger, because we were running, I don't remember all the mod sets names, but we were running a mod set that had a lot of team up cards with Avengers and stuff. And so we were dealing those out. But it also gets kind of fun because you see what heroes they're playing. And so, like, I didn't do this, but someone was telling me about an interaction that they were playing where one of the minions, when in reveal, discarded an upgrade, or I think an upgrade you control, and they dealt that to the Spider player, right? Because Spider is going to be playing Host Spider or something, and that's a really feel bad discard. And so you can kind of choose these minions to kind of counteract what you expect their playline to be. And being able to collaborate with one other person on a team of coming up with that is a lot of fun. Like, it's very satisfying because it's a part of the game that has historically been up to RNG in the terms of like, okay, I flipped this top card, that's what happens. And it takes that RNG away into like a limited choice for players to make. And so there's another card in the standard PvP set called Targeted Strike, which is another way that you can kind of manipulate and do this, where it's a flip up, the enemy team searches the top 5 cards and deals them a face down and counter card. And so now you're getting to choose from a limited pool of those encounter cards to deal out. And so there were a couple of times where we were dealing out cards that would initiate a villain attack because they were exhausted and they had lower health. And so we're trying to like targeted strike, have them take it out. Or we were playing against a X-23 sidekick build. And so we were trying to find the obligation so that they would have to discard X-23, or we were looking for things that would damage allies, like Captain America's shield toss, I think, deals 2 damage to every character. And so it's just like a really fun interaction. There's a lot of cards that have like the leaders attack each other. It was in one of the games that I played with Boom Guy, where we had a ton of boost cards dealt out to Captain America. He was going to swing for like a ton with overkill. And then our opponents played a card that had, I think we had like 4 boost cards stacked up. And we had they had a card that then turn that attack against our leader. And so all those boost cards got dealt to us. And I'm like, no, like it was just like one of those, it was like a really well played hand. It was really, really well done. It was like, it was a feel bad in the moment, but you like take a step back and you're like, okay, that was kind of cool. One of the other cool things is that there's a side scheme that starts inside. I think it's called Choosing Sides, I believe, where printed text says that the leader cannot take more than 2 damage per attack, and when it's out. When you thwart it down, the opposing team gets to look at the top 5 cards of the deck and deal 1 to each player. And then you get a card where you can discard and then go get the leader specific like action card. So for like Captain America, there was a double resource that whenever you spent it, you got to give your leader a face down boost card. Spider-Woman has one where it's like remove 2 threat from your scheme, place 2 threat on their scheme. So there are different ways to interact with the other side of the table. But when you take out that side scheme and when you trigger that action is more strategic than I thought it would be. I thought you would just blitz through it and then clear it. But when we were playing on turn 1, blitz through it, clear it, trigger it, turn 1. When we were playing, because we were dealing out minions, our opponents who took that side scheme out in turn 1 really struggled because then they were resolving 6 encounter cards turn 1 because they got a minion. Then we got to choose sides and then their initial encounter card. So if we knew because we know what we dealt out to people, if they took it out, we could then give them another Avenger minion, which would then trigger the team up. So there was some interesting like timing effects there. And so what I found is if we did not have a encounter card that was dealt to us through the setup of the side scheme, what we were doing is clearing that. But if we did, we would probably wait a turn and then clear it. So we didn't have everything hitting us at once. A lot of really interesting combos that you can build out. And then also if you are able to build your deck with your teammate, you can like create these like really cool cohesive deck builds that are just like any two-handed or any 2-player game, a lot of fun. But now you get like this fun like interaction stuff. I think one of my favorite interactions that we did is we had, I think it was a turn that they had cleared the choosing side scheme. So we had looked at the top 5 cards and we had dealt out encounter cards to both of them. One of them being a Teamwork Avenger. They did not have any Avengers. Then Captain America has a special card that you choose a minion engaged with you and send it to the other side. We had Wasp, who is an Avenger, engaged with us. And so we sent Wasp over to the other side and we were taking the second turn because we were resistance. And then we knew that the Avenger that we had dealt to them would activate because it had teamwork because they now had Wasp. That was a Avenger minion. And so that was just like a really fun, like they had dealt us Wasp. We sent it over and then triggered an immediate attack. And so those are the kind of things, and I think this was Brant, we were talking about it at dinner. Those are the kind of things that they're interactions that you can't necessarily comprehend unless you play it. Or, it's just like those are the types of things that I would have never thought of that type of interaction if I had never just sat down and played the game. So I'm very, very happy that I played PvP. I kind of went into the weekend. I was like, I may play a game or two. I played 7. And I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. So kudos to them for creating a fun experience in PvP. Not going to be something that I play a lot of going forward, mainly because I don't play a lot of 4-player champions. But at cons, I will be playing because it is just a fun way to play a team game. There are not a lot of team-based games out there. We were trying to figure out some, like Axis and Allies is one. We have like Dune has a team variant, or not a team variant, a team mechanic where you can formulate teams. There's just a lot of cool like like styles of play that it introduces that you don't really get in a lot of other games, and I think that's fun. Caleb's new Star Wars game. Cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I've only ever played the 1v1 version of the Star Wars game, but if you play is it a 2v2? That's cool. Um Felt like 2v2. Sorry, I'm catching up on chat now. Um At the next con, we could do a Mystics team up. I'll bring Strange, you do Adam. We can get someone to play the other two. Sick. That'd be awesome. I'd love it. Iron Fist. Oh, that'd be good. Yes. 2v2, if you push stage 2 quickly, you're going to stall a bit and give the other team to get. 100% agree. There were a couple of games where I thought either we or the other team just like were off to the races, but every single leader has a printed ability or a printed statement that when they flip into the final stage, they cannot take any more damage that phase. And so it slows you down, it stops you, and you have to kind of like you have to wait. And then you're getting more encounter cards. It really does slow you down. And the pacing of the game felt like there was never a game where I felt like someone ran away with it, which I was kind of impressed with. You can use that minion to make Cap lose his shield, and he has no way to get it back. That's good. Oh, I don't think minions can take Cap's shield, though, unfortunately. Yeah. If you look back at the rules, there's a mode for 2v2. Got it. Cool. Nice. Ally Gambit would be fun. The deck build that I was running, which was the Scarlet Witch deck build, we had lost to Iron Man, and so I had some tech in there to take on Iron Man, specifically counterintelligence, because there's a lot of things that make Iron Man scheme, and you lose to Iron Man when he schemes out. Like, he's not going to push damage, he's going to push threat. And so I had like counterintelligence in there. I had under surveillance, which was a huge call, and saved us a lot. And then I had interrogation, intelligence, whichever the one was, where when you dealt out encounter cards, you can discard it and then look at the top card of the encounter deck and then rearrange encounter cards. And so because you resolve them in the order that they were dealt, and because it's an intelligent person dealing you the encounter cards, they can set up combos, and that messes with those combos. So you deal out the Avenger that has teamwork before the Avenger that doesn't have teamwork, whereas they may have stacked the deck where you're dealing out the other way around so that you would get an activation, but you can like swap everything. That was fun. And then Chaos Magic, because with the tempo of PvP, it's harder to play some of the higher cost cards just because they're relatively quick games in terms of number of rounds. And so Avengers Mansion is hard to pay off. However, if you Chaos Magic Avengers Mansion, pays off the next turn because it becomes 2 resources instead of 5. And so I enjoyed the Scarlet Witch build. Then I was using Hope to recur Chaos Magic to play another high cost card. It was fun. No, like the one that makes you discard an upgrade. Gotcha. For the shield, I think shield is permanent. But yeah, I just all in all, PvP way more interesting and fun than I thought it was going to be. And highly recommend playing it. I was wrong. I thought that I was not going to enjoy it at all. And I'm glad that I was wrong. So highly recommend trying it out.